Socially Now, your social networking company and management. And today's special guest is Mike Letizia, and he is the Vice President of Human Resources, and also in regards to securities for the Community Bank of San Joaquin County. So welcome, Mike. Thanks for being here.
It's actually just Community Bank of San Joaquin.
It's actually just Community Bank of San Joaquin.
We do more than one county. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
No, I'm happy you're here as well. I had the opportunity to meet you at a Stockton Chamber event, and you spoke in regards to social networking and how that affects small and medium-sized businesses in regards to what they need to consider in regards to the human resource policies that some may want to address and so forth and so on. So for a small business owner, to start with a small business owner, if they are going to take on social networking or social media, what are some of the things you would recommend that they consider first?
One of the things that I think we want to bring to the attention of smaller business owners is that a lot of times they have very limited policies in place. They haven't spent a lot of time in developing those kinds of policies and handbooks. And as we move more and more into a technology-driven generation where, business owners really need to realize that if you don't put policies in place that identify how you operate your business and what the expectations are, that there are certain social expectations on the outside that are going to override what you may feel as a business is prudent for your particular line of business that you're doing. So, if you truly are a person that feels you want to keep information more private, or you want to have your employees have a sense of propriety or maturity and judgment or all those things, you certainly can do that as an employer, but you need to identify those things in policies and procedures so that you have some recourse to fall back on when you get someone in the workforce that doesn't meet those standards. And better to have it in place beforehand than to go through the process of having the hire who says, well, you never said I couldn't do that.
Exactly.
There's no policy that says I can't do that, so that's why I did it. And now you're in more of a conflict rather than a proactive.
And so you're being more reactive, which exactly is not where you want to be. It's not unusual.
Probably spending too much money on attorneys.
Exactly. This is correct. So actually, now you mentioned that depending on the business or the niche, so an approach might be different for a restaurant owner versus someone who's in a financial sector, if you will.
Could very well be, depending on the industry, depending on whether you're regulated or not, depending on how much social media impacts your particular business. There's a lot of industries out there. There's a lot of technology industries out there that are heavily reliant on technology and social media in order to drive business. So they're going to have different kinds of policies and different kinds of approaches than industries that are highly regulated, where we may not, the financial industry is very highly regulated. We have to watch very carefully about how we present ourselves and the kind of information that we present and the way in which we present it, because we have certain guidelines that we have to meet.
During the presentation, you gave a very good example, especially it was in the medical field, where a young man apparently took a photo, and unfortunately there was the photo was a very nice photo, unfortunately included medical
some
documents.
Confidential information, yes.
So that's, to you and I, that's common sense, but so that's an example.
To a younger to a younger generation worker, not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, these kinds of things are, sometimes I think we set ourselves up for an expectation with people and say, well, that's common sense. Everyone should know that. Well, not necessarily. We do have a responsibility, especially in the employment arena, to say, here's what we expect. Here's how we expect people to behave. Here's the way we expect you to conduct yourself. These are the expectations. Are you the kind of person that match those expectations? If so, you're going to do very well. If not, chances are this isn't the place for you.
So part of the hiring qualifications, something needs to be in place in regards to social media,
yes,
especially
definitely
in today's climate.
Ask some of those questions about, and without prying and getting into people's personal lives, because honestly, that's not the point here. Is not to find out what people do in their personal life. The point here is to find out how does the person behave. Behavior is usually repeated. We tend to do the same things over and over again until
Right.
there's a reason for us not to.
So we hit that wall.
Yes. So, you know, when you ask a lot of good behavioral questions in an interview, you can find out pretty quickly, you know, what a person has done in the past, how they approach things, what their thinking is when it comes to certain things. And if it's not a match for you and your organization, then it's not a match.
The other point that you made also, depending on the state that you have or are conducting business, and California is unique in that aspect.
Oh, yes.
And you roll your eyes because it is more complicated than, let's say, other states.
Very
in the
much
union.
so.
Can you elaborate just a bit on that?
You know, California is very different when it comes to employment law. We have a lot of differences from the federal government, a lot of differences from other states that follow more of the federal guidelines than
Right.
California's guidelines. So for an employer in California, there are a lot of employment-based laws that they should be aware of. Under compensation and benefits and time and attendance and leaves of absence and workers' comp, and I mean all of these areas are very important to California employers, and to not have at least the basic information you need to operate to mitigate some of the risks that
The
are
risks are
involved.
involved, right.
That's, you know, you're running around with a lighted match, and sometimes things go boom, and
In the middle of the night or in the middle of the day, doesn't matter.
sometimes.
Do you recommend that, in your professional opinion, because this is what you do day in and day out, do you recommend for a small business owner, I would imagine that a medium-sized business owner should actually hire an RH person, even if it's on a temporary basis? What would you, give me a little,
You know,
give us some little,
human resources
Yeah.
is, it certainly is a profession, and they are looking to standardize the profession the same way they standardized CPAs and other credentialed professions, and that will come in time, I think, in the next few years. The key, I think, is whether or not you call someone your human resource person. If you have a person in your business that makes it a point to gather the knowledge needed in order to mitigate the risks associated with employment law, you're satisfying the need. It really doesn't matter what you call them. And
Exactly.
you know, in smaller businesses, these people are probably capable of doing more than just specifically HR. But typically, when you talk about the full scope of the human resource profession, and you start adding the retirement and the payroll and all of a sudden now that is a full-time job.
absolutely.
A lot of times in businesses, what they do is they, you know, silo those things, and
Exactly.
they put training over here, and they put payroll and accounting, and they, so you know, the idea that you can centralize those functions in a smaller business, and it is more than enough work for a person, even in a business with 30 employees,
30 employees.
if you're not doing different silos for all those different kinds of functions. And it's nice if you have a generalist that you've retained. That person is going to be able to do all those things: the training, the development, the planning, the strategy, the needs assessments, the recruiting, all of those things for the business,
For the
all in
business.
one area.
And there are different companies or different businesses that can do this on a part-time basis. That's not full-time,
Absolutely.
so whatever your budget allows or whatever you're
Right.
thinking you want to implement, this is something.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
can
if someone
hire.
doesn't want to bring in somebody in-house, there are ways for a small business to partner. You can go to professional employment organizations. Those provide not only the HR administration functions, but also can do the benefits, can do the retirement. They pool their clients into larger groups so that you are offered better rates a lot of times for some of the benefits that
Absolutely.
are offered.
Right.
There's, you know, ways to partner with just outside consulting agencies. You can certainly outsource your administration work if you wanted to, and have someone come in to check that. It's really a very flexible industry. The human relation part is probably the most critical. When I talk to constituents and colleagues in other financial institutions, and just people in the San Joaquin HR Association, a lot of times the component that's missing when you're outsourcing is the human relation part,
Right.
the interaction part in the business. You're getting great results as far as the administration goes and the handbook and the personnel paperwork and the I-9s and all of those things, but you're not getting the employee relation contact. And a lot of times that's where the disconnect is. You know, employees have to call a call center and it's not personalized, so they don't feel that there's someone in the organization that understands them as their advocates.
As their advocates.
And
That's
truly, I
right.
believe HR people are both the employer and the employee advocate. We have the opportunity to be that middle person that is
The
finding,
buffer.
that's
Exactly.
finding the best way for both to achieve success.
'Cause you're-